Was Monica Kiesler a citizen scientist? Don't turn this video off because we are fixing a deep dive what happened to PNUT and Fred. Hello everybody, welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So my name is Samantha and I am the owner-operator of a 2-acre farmstead located in Southeast Louisiana. And that's important because one of the things that I do here is raise animals. So I have a very strong attachment to the environment. I'm completely organic. I don't till, I even raise worms, folks. So I'm all about incorporating nature into what I do here on my farm. And I want to deep dive a little deeper into this very concerning topic of PNUT the squirrel and Fred the raccoon. Now, I've got a clip I'm going to show you at the end. I'm not sure if YouTube's going to allow it, so I am going to put it at the end, but I'm going to reference it now. Mark, the owner of these animals and the owner of the nonprofit Rescue, was talking, and he said that they were very concerned with his wife's citizenship. She's from Germany. So I dug a little deeper just to make sure that that was not their job. Their environmental concern, the Department of Environmental Concern, DEC, that is who raided his home. No, it is not their job to check citizenship, and they have nothing to do with citizenship. So that is red flag number one. Why? Why are they concerned with obviously a European descent citizenship? Maybe it has something to do with that replacement theory of South Americans into North America. I'm just saying. Second, folks, what this woman that turned them in, this woman that is now social media famous by her own stupidity and admitting what she did, her name is Monica Kiesler, and she is from Texas. It's easier to find her. I'm not putting her information out there. I believe that she is somebody who was seriously brainwashed. Now, somebody told me they just looked up some of her stuff, and of course she's got Kamala Harris 2024 on it. So now this is a political thing. We have somebody that obviously supports left-leaning, my body, my choice nonsense, yet is going to turn in the owner of a squirrel that has a nonprofit that just recently moved from Connecticut to New York. See, in Connecticut, he could have his squirrel. In New York, he could not without the paperwork, and he was in the process of completing the paperwork when they raided his home for 5 hours, tore the house up, refused to allow him to feed these animals that he had in his care, which over 300 of them, and they basically walked around the house with him, even escorting him to the restroom. They interrogated his German-born wife on her citizenship, which is way out of line for a State Department to do, right? Could y'all imagine if somebody stopped a Hispanic person or a Chinese person in America right now and asked them about their citizenship? It would go global. It would go global as racist and everything else, but nobody has a problem with him asking a German-born woman if she is a citizen of the United States. That should have concerned everybody. That should have been the first real big red flag. But I was like, why would Monica do this? Like, why would anybody think that it's okay to do this? And then I found this. Global citizen environmental scientist. Smells just like a social credit score nonsense, folks. So basically, there has been some training going on all over the place in the US, in the European countries, all the Western civilizations, with this liberal lean to it, where it encourages people to notice the environment around them. In fact, Congress passed a law saying that citizens could sue people who were destroying the environment around them because federal's just overburdened. So much to do. It's got so much to do, it just can't catch everything. So we're going to empower citizens to tattle on each other and tattle on corporations and tattle on small businesses and tattle on their enemies. We're gonna give you that right. We're gonna say that you, the people, finally have a right to do something. So if you see something, say something, right? Sound a little familiar? So anyway, it just set so wrong with me that somebody in Texas would think they had the right to call on somebody in New York multiple times, I might add, and turn the squirrel in. Like, where did she think she even had the legal right to do it? From this. So either somebody has trained her, or she has been part of some kind of group. I don't know. You sleuths that like to dig around on the internet, see if she's part of any of these environmental groups that have the wording environmental citizen scientist. Those are the keywords that you're looking for, because that is a liberal think tank that is raising up an entire generation of tattletales. These are the people that if you try to burn a box in your yard, is going to be calling the EPA on you. If you try to burn those leaves instead of bag them to go in the landfill, where they're obviously going to poison the environment by leaking methane as they slowly decompose, you know, can't think for yourself anymore, folks. You got to believe their nonsense, right? All of this just set so bad with me because obviously PNUT was a beloved squirrel. 7.5 years. They did try releasing him once. He got beat up and something ate half his tail. And then Monica Kiesler from Texas decided she just could not allow this squirrel, this one, or the raccoon, Fred, to have the rest of their life in peace. And the shame is the excuse that the DEC gave them. Well, they didn't actually give an excuse. See, the DEC never even contacted Mark and his wife after euthanizing their pets. He found out by hearing it on a radio station. But their excuse was we needed to test them for rabies. So I did a little research on rabies. So the story goes deeper. The CDC, right? We should all believe everything the CDC says. And in this case, we're going to. There has never, ever been a confirmed case of rabies in a squirrel. Now, hypothetically, yes, a squirrel is a mammal and therefore it could get rabies, but it never has before. And it has something to do with the size of the squirrel and the viciousness of the virus, also by the size of whatever would bite the squirrel and give it rabies. So it's almost impossible, like a man giving birth to a baby. I'm just saying, it's almost impossible. So they put and euthanized the squirrel and the raccoon to check them for rabies. But wouldn't you think that they could just put the squirrel in a cage for 3 or 4 days? If it did have rabies, it would kill it that quickly. So says the CDC, which should be the governing ruling on anything that any environmental group does in America concerning transmutable diseases, zoonotic diseases between humans and animals. So here is my tinfoil hat moment for all of you. Did they euthanize these animals, or do they have them somewhere running tests on them, subjecting them to things that you and I would rather never think about? Where are the bodies of these animals? Where is the proof that you euthanized them? Where is the proof that you had to? Because according to your governing federal mandates and science, the science is against you. Oh, state employees. Again, my question is, what did they do with these animals and why did they take them? Because we all know they did not need to euthanize the squirrel for sure. What do you think about that? Am I so far-fetched, or am I just my brain going crazy because it's such a horrific thing to have happened? It's such an, like, almost unbelievable that somebody could have power in Texas over what happens to an animal in New York. Like, except I showed you guys, look, it's called government federal overreach. And if we allow Kamala Harris into that presidential seat tomorrow, you're going to get more than your first black president, folks. She never claimed she was black, by the way, until the last 6 months when she decided to run for president. Never. You'll never find her saying she's black before that. She didn't even claim the black people. That's what the shame of all this is. It's all smoke and mirrors. I'm just curious, what is the bigger picture? I feel like we're all missing something very important, and I would love you guys to share your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. We definitely need to make Monica Kisler famous because that's what she wanted. It's what she wanted because she actually went on social media and admitted that she did this. If you're going to do something like this, you never open your mouth again. Let me give you that bit of advice. You never admit that you did it. You never tie your name to it. But somehow she thought it was a good idea to defend herself with, "It was my right. Stop the hate." Was it though? I mean, I guess if you're leaning towards that liberal think tank of being a scientist, a citizen scientist, and it is your duty to turn the rest of us in, then I guess, yeah, it was your right. But as an American citizen, it was also his right to be kind. And he was, even though in my first video I did a live a couple of days ago, I was totally wrong about him, and that's why I corrected myself last night. I believe that once you get a bigger picture, sometimes you have to reevaluate how you think about someone. That makes me a thinking, caring person. It doesn't mean I'm wrong for questioning him. You should question everything in this day and age. Don't be gullible, folks. Question everything. It's okay. Ooh, the yellow jackets are super bad this year. Anyway, here's the clip I was talking about. Love you guys. Have a blessed day.
What happened today and what transpired throughout this week has been nothing short of a tragedy and a disgrace to the New York State. 2 days ago, 10 to 15 DEC officers raided my home for a raccoon and a squirrel. We used resources from this state to kill a squirrel and raccoon and raid my house as if I was a drug dealer. We have resources to kill a raccoon and a squirrel, but we can't fix the major bridges down the street.
Who do you think dimed you out on this? Who do you think, Mark, like they said for rabies? I mean, I looked up when I heard about this, I had seen your videos, by the way. My senior producer, Jonathan, called me about it, but I had seen it. People loved it. I mean, it's one of the good things about social media. I mean, you did a great job with this animal. So I look up rabies, and they're pretty severe symptoms and demonstrations of behavior. Couldn't they have just observed the squirrel and the raccoon and said, well, they don't look rabid? And who told them that they might be rabid?
Sir, there's a quarantine period that is supposed to be happening. We did not hear from the DEC. We didn't even get a statement from the DEC. We heard it from another news station that they killed PNUT. Since they left my house, not a single DEC employee or state official even called me to tell me what happened. They came into my house. They even asked my wife for immigration status. They asked me if I had cameras in my house. They got local sheriffs to approve this. The DA approved this. They had a criminal judge sign a search warrant to come and take these animals. The woman who claimed, or the member who claimed to get bitten, everybody around here wore gloves. These are professionals who deal with animals on a daily basis, and you're going to tell me you got bit by a squirrel? None of this transpired. This was somebody out to get me. We moved to a small town to start a nonprofit animal rescue called Peanuts Freedom Farm. We understood that this internet sensation was a wave, and we wanted to turn it into something great, so we moved to New York from Connecticut. We moved here last April, and we started a nonprofit and have rescued over 300 animals, all in the name of Peanut. Peanut is the center of our organization. I used his social media to gather the funding to continue to help animals. And the DEC comes in here. They wouldn't even allow me to feed my horses who have been coming from neglected cases. They spent 5 hours taking apart my house for a squirrel and a raccoon. So I need an explanation as to why this state can find the funding to bring this many people to my house to destroy my life, but we can't fix major issues that we're having in this state.
Listen, I get it, but I don't think you need the alternative argument, to be honest, about like what we're not doing. This is just a really messed up thing. And I know it's a squirrel, but this is a squirrel the way I have dogs, as far as you're concerned. Now, I get it. Maybe the law doesn't treat them the same way. That goes to the second point, which is this what we needed to do? Look, here's what I can do. Mark, I give you an open channel of communication. You let me know. I mean, we can't bring Peanut back, not to trivialize it, but they did what they did. And you're going to want to raise money, and I'll help you do that too on my own personally. You know, that's not what News Nation does. But I'm really, you know, you're a sweetheart. And what you and your wife are trying to do is great. And maybe there was a little NIMBY of this, but I don't really care about any of that. I'm really sorry you went through this. And I know you loved and cared about this. And you know, I'm here. And I'll give you my phone number, and you can get me whenever you want.
Chris, Mr. Coleman, I can't thank you enough for that. Again, this has been a tragedy that could have been avoided in many different ways. If the DEC was a little bit more acknowledgeable or education-wise, they could have told me the process that I could have gotten the paperwork to obtain PNUT.
Right.
But for 7 years, not a single person said boo about this squirrel. He's causing no harm to the community. He's actually doing more.
It's like you had a grizzly bear.